Welcome to Outside View Scandals, where we dive into history's juiciest tales. Today, we're traveling back to ancient Rome for a scandalous story filled with betrayal, ambition, and one emperor with some serious family issues. We're talking about the Domitius affair, the infamous case of Domitian's brother executed on charges of high treason. Yeah, you heard that right. High treason. Nothing says Roman Empire quite like a good old-fashioned family betrayal. So let's set the stage. We are in the 1st century AD under the rule of Emperor Domitian. Now, Domitian wasn't exactly known for his warm personality. In fact, he had a reputation for being rather paranoid, power-hungry, and, well, not exactly winning any Brother of the Year awards. His brother, Titus Flavius Domitianus, or Domitius, was an ambitious figure himself, perhaps a bit too ambitious for Domitian's taste. You see, in the Roman Empire, ambition was a dangerous game. While most of us might compete with our siblings over, say, the last slice of cake, in ancient Rome, the stakes were a little bit higher. Domitian saw his brother's ambition as a potential threat to his throne. And in a move that would have made Machiavelli proud, Domitian decided to accuse his own brother of high treason. Now, what exactly was Domitius' crime? Did he raise an army against his brother, or did he plan an assassination attempt? Not quite. In fact, his crime was perhaps just existing with a bit too much confidence, and maybe standing a little too close to the throne. In Rome, the mere hint of ambition was enough to make the emperor nervous. Domitian, almost the pragmatic one, decided the only solution was to eliminate the competition, family or not. And so Domitius found himself facing charges of high treason, a crime that, in Roman terms, was punishable by death. But let's pause for a moment and think about this. High treason wasn't just any accusation in Rome. This was no small matter. It wasn't something thrown around lightly, especially not within the family. In Rome, treason meant a betrayal not only of the emperor, but of the entire Roman state. It was considered the ultimate crime against the empire, sending a powerful message. In Rome, no one is safe. Domitian wasn't just removing a rival, he was making a public statement that he and he alone was in control. He didn't need a public vote of confidence, he needed a spectacle. In this case, the spectacle came at the expense of his own family. Domitius, of course, protested his innocence. He claimed loyalty to Rome and his brother, but in ancient Rome, loyalty was a very slippery concept. In Domitian's mind, loyalty wasn't something you claimed, it was something you proved. Apparently, Domitius hadn't done enough proving here. So, despite the lack of concrete evidence, Domitian sentenced his brother to death. The execution of Domitius was swift, brutal, and, in a twisted way, efficient. Domitian had removed his competition, and he'd done so in a way that left no doubt about who was in charge. In Rome, the line between loyalty and betrayal was razor thin, and crossing it, even accidentally, could mean the end. After Domitius' death, Domitian continued his rule, but with an increased sense of paranoia. He had secured his position for the time being, but the cost was high, not just in terms of family bonds, but also in terms of his public image. Because let's face it, executing your own brother doesn't do wonders for your approval ratings. It's said that Domitian's paranoia only grew worse after Domitius' death. He became more reclusive, more suspicious, and more prone to seeing enemies everywhere. The Domitius affair served as a lesson to those around him. Don't even think about challenging the emperor. But it also painted a picture of an emperor who was as insecure as he was ruthless. And that perhaps was Domitian's greatest flaw. For all his power, he never felt truly secure. Even after eliminating his brother, he remained a man haunted by the shadows of potential rivals. The Domitius affair remains a dark chapter in the history of the Roman Empire, and we know we have loads there. It's a reminder that in a world ruled by emperors, family ties meant very little when power was at stake. And for Domitian, the price of power was one he was more than willing to pay, even if it meant spilling his own family's blood. This affair also had a chilling effect on Roman society. If the emperor could execute his own brother on vague charges of treason, then truly no one was safe. It created an atmosphere of fear where even those closest to the emperor lived in a state of constant uncertainty. Many Roman senators, generals, and advisors began to realize that loyalty alone was not a guarantee of safety. In a twist of irony, Domitian's purge of supposed rivals only created more resentment. Those who might have once been loyal began to question whether they too could one day be accused of treason. The Domitius affair didn't just eliminate one rival, it set off a chain reaction of fear and mistrust that would haunt Domitian's reign. As for Domitian himself, his hold on power did not last forever. In fact, his rule ended rather violently. His paranoia grew so intense that he began suspecting everyone around him of betrayal, and it wasn't long before his own inner circle turned against him. In a poetic twist of fate, Domitian was eventually assassinated by members of his court, those he had trusted most. Perhaps in the end, the Domitius affair foreshadowed Domitian's own tragic fate. It was a sign that, no matter how ruthlessly one clings to power, there is always a cost. And for Domitian, that cost was paid in blood, first his brother's, and later his own. The Domitius affair is a fascinating study in power, paranoia, and the fragile nature of loyalty. In Rome, where power was everything, even family bonds couldn't hold up under the weight of ambition. And for Domitian, the ultimate irony was that in trying to eliminate threats, he only created more. In the end, Domitian's legacy was not one of unity or strength, but one of fear and division. He may have succeeded in securing his throne temporarily, but he ultimately failed to secure the loyalty and love of his people. And that perhaps is the greatest tragedy of the Domitius affair. So thank you a lot for watching Outside View Scandals again. And if you enjoyed this journey into Rome's darkest side, make sure to subscribe and join us for more stories of ambition, betrayal, and the lengths people will go for power. Until next time, remember, history's greatest scandals didn't come cheap. And if you want to see another video, the next one is right here in the end screen.